So guys, the season is over. I ended up with Corona today, and I was supposed to do a last endurance race, so that sucks. So being bored, I'm going to make a series of videos, and I'm going to take this bike apart in molecules. I had a small crash last weekend, low speed crash, so I need to remove everything during winter, and I need to drop the engine and send it to Alpha Racing for just check through, so everything's okay. The bike's been at 10,000 kilometers soon, so it's about time. So what we're going to do today is we're going to remove the front wheel. So I'll show you how I do that. And then later we're going to remove the forks. And then I'm going to remove the rear wheel. And I have to remove the rear swing with a linkage. And then we will remove the rear frame just to check that everything's okay. And then it's the big job, which is removing the tank, disconnecting everything from the engine, and then lowering the engine and emptying it on coolant and oil. And before we do that, of course, we need to remove the exhaust, and we need to remove the water and oil coolant and drain them. It's a lot of things to do, so hopefully you will enjoy this series. But today we're starting with the front wheel. So the tools we need for this is wrench with the 12 socket. That's for removing the brakes. And then you will need an hex key, size 40. Of course, the wrench for that. And the hex key is to remove the pinch bolts in front of the fork leg. And then you'll need something like this, or hex 24, and that will go inside to remove the axle. You can buy these at your local shop. They're pretty handy. And I need a socket for that. So Torx 40, 12 wrench, and then the 24 hex, or this tool. So I will start by removing my protection here. And if you have that, it's from Gillis. It's only one screw inside that you have to loosen, and then that's out. I'll do that and get back to you. So next to me is to grab a plier. I don't know if you guys have it, and remove these clamps. And these are the regulation for racing here. You need to safety wire your brakes. So I made these for faster attachment. Otherwise, you can safety wire as usual through the holes in the bolt. But now we need to remove the brakes. So it's 12 socket, and you have 2 bolts that you need to remove. I'll do that on both sides and get back to you. So the bolts are loose. So what you need to do on the left hand side of the bike, if you're sitting on the bike, left hand side, there is a clamp here. So just remove it from the brake line, and it will give you, remove as many as you need. It will give you space to remove the brakes. Just remove the bolts. They are identical, so it doesn't matter which one is on the top or which one is in the bottom. I usually wiggle the brakes a little bit to separate them, and then gently remove them. And I usually use a rubber string to raise these so they don't hang. So repeat the same procedure on the other side. So the brakes are out of the way. This is what I mean. And just hang them up to the handlebars. So next is to unscrew the pinch bolts in the front. And if you're in the front of the bike, you should only unscrew the ones to the left. So if you're sitting in front, the ones to the left-hand side of the bike, those you never touch, you don't need to. So these ones, and you don't have to remove them, you just unscrew them a little bit. I need both my hands, so I'll do that and get back. So the pinch bolts are slightly loosened, as you can see, both of them. You don't remove them completely. So it's the one to the left of the bike that you remove. Next, you need to use this special tool, or if you have a 24 key, insert it and then start to unscrew the axle. And to do that, you need to put a foot underneath the front tire, and there is something to be cautious about, and that's this little sensor here, so you don't damage it, or this ring here. So when you're removing the front wheel, be careful so you don't hit the sensor or damage the ring. So I will unscrew that and then show you the procedure. So the axle is getting loose. So what you can do is to help it is to press on the other side with your fingers to push it through while you are unscrewing. And then I try to get the wheel all the way to the left. My foot under, you can see it's moving, so all the way to the left. My foot under, unscrew this all the way out and push it with your other hand, because sometimes it takes time to get it off. Now it's loose, so remove the axle, and I will need my both hands to do this, so I'll do that and get back to you. So the axle is out and the wheel is loose, so carefully remove it and be careful with that sensor, because that's your traction control and launch control and a lot of other things. So that's how you get out the front wheel. Put it aside and don't lay it down with this side down, because you will damage the ring. So if you get this far and you have a stand like I do, which goes under the triple clamp, you can turn the forks. And every time I change the front wheel, I usually clean this stuff, because this is dust and it will get inside your fork and make it leak. So some brake clean and clean this stuff, and then you can clean here as well, and then reapply lubricate, which is a special lubricate for axles and stuff like that, ball bearing. So that is how you remove the front wheel. So guys, moving to the rear wheel, it's pretty simple. All you need is a 32 socket, and you need to remove this bolt on this side and then pull the axle through. I have the best investment ever, which is an underslug, which will make my life a whole lot easier. I don't need to jam my foot underneath the rear tire. I could just remove the axle, and then if I want 10 hours later, remove the front wheel. What you need to do is remove this and then pull the axle through and then hang off the chain, and then the whole rear wheel is loose. So I'll start by undoing that and get back to you. So the nut is loose. I will remove this all the way out. And then hit the axle until it will come loose from the other side, and then remove it. And this is the beauty. Because I have an underslug, I don't need to hold the tire. It's resting on the rear brake. So don't leave your axle flat on the ground. Let it stand up so you don't get any debris or dirt on it. So what you do now is push the wheels slightly forward and then hang off the chain by removing it from the sprocket. Hang it off to the side. Next step is pretty easy. You have a sensor here as well, so you should be slightly careful. And then remove the wheel by putting your foot underneath it, and then completely remove it, slide it to the side, so you will clear the rear brake, and then the rear wheel is off. So this is the underslug, and it makes my life a whole lot easier. Second thing that makes your life easier, if you get these distances that are attached, so you will not drop them all the time when you put the rear wheel in and out. So two of them, one on this side and one on the other side. So now we'll just remove the hub. While you're here, you can check this part, see that it's stuck, it's nothing loose. And then you can put the wheel aside.